Welcome back, everyone. Who'd have thought we finally get to talk about the Samsung Galaxy S21 and compare it against the Samsung Galaxy S10? Now, what I can tell you is I'm like so happy to do that. I'm way more happier to do this one than the S21 versus the S20 because the Samsung Galaxy S10 is one of my favorite phones ever made. I feel like this phone is so timeless. It's so beautiful. It's kind of like me in a way. And I'm being so cheesy in this video. I gotta stop. Now, I will find the cheapest both ones of both of these and link them down in the description so you can pick them up from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off with the front, I mean, not even the front. Let me just talk about the history. The S21, it's interesting in so many ways, but at the same time, and in a lot of ways, I mean, it's whatever. I can go on all day. Now, on the front, we got a 6.2-inch panel on the S21, a 6.1-inch panel on the Galaxy S10. Now, what I can tell you is that, first of all, 1440p panel on the S10, 1080p panel on the S21, fingerprint sensors in the display. However, I feel like the S21's panel is better because it has that 120Hz refresh rate. If it didn't have the 120Hz refresh rate, the Samsung Galaxy S10's panel, I think, is overall better. Obviously, hole punch displays, this one's on the right, this one's in the center, but because of the curved panel, it makes me feel like this phone is the more premium one. And the reason I feel like that is because with these flat panels, and there's nothing wrong with flat panels either, they're good panels too, but the curved ones add a little bit more, I guess, finesse to it. I don't know if you even know if that's the right word, but it just adds a little bit more character to the device. With something like the Galaxy S21, it reminds me so much of like a Galaxy A71, for example, and that's kind of like, Samsung's budget tier model. So that's kind of what I get from here. If I didn't know about those phones, it wouldn't matter, but because I've already handled most of the A series, this kind of feels like more of the A series than like an S series. Like that Galaxy S10 feels arguably more expensive than the S21. Now, volume buttons, everything are pretty much in the same spot. We also have expandable storage on the Samsung Galaxy S10. That's another pretty big advantage that we have on the Galaxy S10, where we don't have that anymore on the S21. USB Type-C on the bottom, but we also have the headphone jack on the Galaxy S10, where we don't have it on the S21, just another crazy thing. But the craziest thing, in my opinion, that we have a glass back on the Galaxy S10, but we have a plastic back on the Samsung Galaxy S21. Triple camera setups on both, wireless charging, reverse wireless charging on both as well. But isn't that kind of crazy? We pretty much don't have that capability on the S21. The premiumness goes for a phone that came out in 2019 from the same manufacturer. It doesn't make any sense to me. It will never make any sense to me, but in this case, the Samsung Galaxy S10 definitely wins when it comes down to the premiumness and just how good of a feeling device the S10 goes for. I think the S10 is still a great device. The S21. I've talked about every single Galaxy S phone. I've owned every single one, and I think this is the weirdest one Samsung has made. I think especially since the S6, but the Galaxy S6 feels more premium than this thing, which is crazy. So in terms of the outside and the body comparison, the S10 definitely wins here. I think the Galaxy S10 feels like the more premium device. The only thing the Galaxy S21 has going for it is the 120Hz refresh rate and maybe the flat display and a little bit of a bigger display that some people may like. But I think of, a majority of people, if you looked at both, the S10 probably wins. Now, I think the even bigger than that, actually, that's probably the biggest difference. But one of the bigger differences as well, this actually maybe it's like tied with the biggest difference between the body and this one, would probably come in the software. Now, this is the sad thing, okay? This is the very, very sad thing. When you look at both these phones, they kind of look like they got the same thing going on. I haven't done a speed comparison, I'll do it later on, but they kind of look like pretty similar phones. The Samsung Galaxy S21 is going to outlast the Galaxy S10 in terms of software. It's not really fair because I feel like the S10, the hardware is going to be so capable for so long. This is such a capable phone when it comes down to it. This phone deserves so many more versions of Android than it gets. This thing could last until like Android 15 probably because this phone still feels like that. With the S21, the biggest advantage that it has over the Galaxy S10, in my opinion, more than the cameras, more than the battery, more than anything else, is probably the software. You're going to be getting a longer lasting phone from the Samsung Galaxy S21 than the Galaxy S10. This phone is already 2 years old. It's probably getting Android 11 as we know. It's probably going to stop at Android 12. And that's really pretty much it. That's all it's going to get. It's still actually longer than what it was, planned on before. But the S21 is going to be getting 2 more versions more than what the S10 is going to get. So it's probably going to last until Android 14 or something like that. So this phone's going to last for much longer than the S10. And that's really the biggest advantage that the S21 has going for it. Is it fair? Yes and no. It's fair because obviously it's, a newer phone, but also when, like I said before, when you hold something like the Samsung Galaxy S10, it feels like it should last forever. And that's kind of the same way I felt with the Galaxy S9, but more so with the Galaxy S10 because this phone is still more than capable. And software and hardware with the battery, there's also a little bit of a difference here. We have a 3400 milliamp hour battery on the Samsung Galaxy S10, but a 4000 milliamp hour battery on the S21. And theoretically, we should get better battery life from the Galaxy S21. So that's kind of another advantage. I think, those two are probably the biggest, I guess, advantages for the S21 would probably be the battery life and the software, but more so the software. I think the biggest difference in the way the Galaxy S10 wins the most is the hardware, the way it feels on the outside, the way it looks. But I think the Galaxy S21 probably wins when it comes down to the battery and the software, when, especially things like speed and performance and camera. We already know it's going to be better, but I think the S10 still kills it. But the S21 definitely wins in those categories. So in terms of that, that pretty much covers it up. Now let's go ahead and do a speed comparison between both these devices. The Samsung Galaxy S10, again, came out 2 years ago, has that Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 chipset with 8 gigabytes of RAM on two models, which, the Galaxy S21 has that Qualcomm Snapdragon 888 chipset with an 8 gigabyte model as well in terms of RAM. So same RAM, obviously going to be a faster phone in the S21. But let's go and see which one is the faster phone between both of these. All right, now that we're back, let's go ahead and clear all the apps in the background, and you should be able to see that we only have apps opened up on the Galaxy S21. So let's go into it. Let's go and load up something like phone calls, 3, 2, 1. And I even think right there the S21 was faster. Kind of swiping out, they both kind of give the same impression. We do have the 120 hertz enabled on the S21. Messages, pretty much the same thing. Chrome, obviously I'm not going to have a website here. Let's hop out of this one. Camera, 3, 2, 1. Pretty much the same thing going on so far. Nothing crazy. Galaxy Store, 3, 2, 1. S21 definitely the far faster one here. S10 a little bit behind. Play Store, 3, 2, 1. And again, the Galaxy S21 was faster here. The Galaxy S10 a little bit behind. Scrolling through, let's see if there's a difference at all. And like I stated before, I think the biggest differentiating factor would probably come in the sense of the 120 hertz refresh rate. I mean, you're definitely getting a much smoother phone, it looks like, on the S21 than on the S10 for sure. So that's pretty noticeable right there. As always, I have a bunch of these third-party apps we can go and get into. Let's do Snapchat, 3, 2, 1. And I think the S21 was slightly faster there. Let's go ahead and do Dune, which I don't even think I have on this device. I probably should have. Let's do Snake versus Blocks, 3, 2, 1. And almost like the same thing. There really wasn't a big difference here. I was expecting more of a difference, didn't really get it. But pretty much the same thing going on for the most part on the outside. As you can see, pretty much the same thing. So not a big difference there by any means. Let's do Stack, 3. And I keep getting these apps, but I don't know where they put them. Let's do Temple Run 2. And again, this may be another app that we need to download. Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And as you can see, the S21 a little bit ahead. I was expecting there to be a bigger difference between these two. As you can see, there's 2 years of difference between these two. And I don't know, did it look like 2 years of difference? Didn't to me. I mean, I don't know if to you. Speed-wise, I mean, they're probably going to be the same. I mean, this is a very basic game when it comes down to it. But still, it took a while to load on both phones. Let's go ahead and do something like Quizlet. Let's do Fruit Ninja, 3, 2, 1. Now, Fruit Ninja had an update recently, so it may be screwed up on both phones, but we're just going to have to see it when we run into it. And as you can see, different versions on both. We have not gotten the update here, so probably we would just automatically give the edge to the Samsung Galaxy S21. I will say one more thing while I'm at it. Swiping up when you're in landscape mode is much easier to do on the S21 than on the S10. That's, I think, probably one of the more important things to note about having a flat display. Quizlet, 3, 2, 1. S21 again is the winner here. Bofa, 3, 2, 1. A little bit of a glitch, I would say, a little bit of a delay on the S10. And you can see it ultimately was faster on the Galaxy S21 as well. Hopping out of this one, let's do Twitter, 3, 2, 1. And S21 again was the faster one. Now, I thought I had Paper.io 3D here as well, but I guess I don't have it. But we can go ahead and start loading up some other apps, I guess, that are somewhat built in. And that really pretty much covers up all the apps that I wanted to hit on. We can do Clock, 3, 2, 1. Pretty much the same thing. I think the S21 honestly was a little bit faster there too. And that really pretty much covers up, I think, all the apps that I wanted to hit on. So ultimately, I do think the Galaxy S21 is the faster one, but I think the Galaxy S10 honestly is still extremely fast. And low-key, it's much faster than I thought. This phone was a much faster device than I thought, but it's not as fast as the Galaxy S21 when it comes down to it. So that really pretty much covers it up there. Let's go and hit on the cameras. Now we will be doing a full camera test sooner than later. It's not going to happen right now, but I'll briefly hit on them. We have triple camera setups on both, and we have the triple camera threat, which is something I love to call them both. We have a wide angle lens, ultra wide sensor, and telephoto lenses on both. So the S10 has a 12 megapixel wide, 12 megapixel telephoto, and then a 16 megapixel ultra wide sensor. Where the Galaxy S21 has a 12 megapixel wide, 64 megapixel telephoto, then a 12 megapixel ultra wide sensor. Now, for some reason, I still have yet to gotten the 3.0 update on my, Samsung Galaxy S10, but regardless, you can actually already see a little bit of a difference. The Samsung Galaxy S21 seemed to have done a better job already at kind of, making the photo look a little bit less bright. On the S10, it kind of looks like that. But UI-wise, you're going to be getting the same thing. The biggest difference, I think, in terms of the two, you do have the 8K capability on the S21, where you only have 4K at 60 on the Galaxy S10. And it's funny I'm saying only because that's still really good, but still one important thing to keep in mind. Now, with something like the Galaxy S10, this is still a really good camera for the most part. I've taken tons of photos, tons of videos on this thing, and overall, it's been a really good experience. I tried to take a photo of it, didn't work. Like I said, because you still have 4K at 60, you're really not missing out on too much. Not a lot of people are using 8K right now, so you still have a lot of capability when it comes down to this specific camera lens. So when it comes down to the Samsung Galaxy S10's camera, thumbs up for me for sure. This is still a really good sensor, but I would say compared to the Galaxy S21, you are overall getting a better camera setup on the Samsung Galaxy S21 for sure. I mean, you're getting much higher quality photos, videos, a higher megapixel count on pretty much almost all lenses except for the ultra-wide sensor, surprisingly. And I think at the end of the day, this is probably going to be one of the best cameras this year, especially for the price tag, considering Samsung dropped the price by a little bit. But I still would say if you have something like a Galaxy S10, you're not really missing out on too much. You still have a lot of the same quality, 4K 60 on the front on both, 4K 60 on the back. You just have 8K on this phone. Obviously, the quality of this photo and the quality of these videos is going to be better, but I think overall the Galaxy S10's camera is still pretty good. So to kind of sum up this video and to answer the question, should you go and buy a Samsung Galaxy S10 or should you go and buy a Samsung Galaxy S21? Well, obviously it kind of answers itself. The S21 is the newer phone. It would make more sense to buy the S21. Like I stated before, you're getting a longer software support on the S21, better camera, better battery life, I guess better features, but there are still some areas where the Samsung Galaxy S10 is arguably better. I think, because it has that micro SD card slot, that is something that's really awesome. The glass back on the S10 as well are just some really, really cool things. But I like the fact that Samsung did decrease the price for $100. I think that's pretty cool. I mean, still they kind of, took out the charging brick, put a plastic back instead of the glass back, and took out the micro SD card slot, which is kind of stupid. But I think at the end of the day, the S21 is the better phone for sure. However, with that being said, if you still have a Samsung Galaxy S10, I would not go from the Galaxy S10 to the S21 at all. I think the S21 is like a phone that should be upgraded to if you have like a Galaxy S9, a Galaxy S8, S9 or below. If you have any of those phones, or if you're coming from a Galaxy A series device from this year or last year, then it kind of makes sense to upgrade. If you have an upgrade, if you got a A51 or something, then I would say, go for the S21. If you have a A71, go for the S21. But if you have a Galaxy S20, a Galaxy S10, a Galaxy S10 Plus, an S10e, whatever the case is, I would recommend waiting for the Galaxy S22. That honestly makes the most sense to me. The S10, if you have it, keep it. This is still a really good phone. You could still have pretty much almost all the capability that you have from other phones. Obviously, it's not going to be as good as something like an S21 when it comes down to speed and stuff. But arguably, I'm feeling both in the hand. I'm holding both in the hand right now. And I'm telling you, if you have an S10, don't upgrade. It's not worth it. But if you have a Galaxy S9 or an A71 or something like that, like I stated, go and upgrade. But I would probably even give it like a couple of months before, even if you want to get an S21, because these things are probably going to go half the price in like a month or two. So that really pretty much covers it up. Like I stated, if you want to pick up either one of these, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section as well. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys can hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my other channels. More importantly, everything also, every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.